When drawing the head, it is essential to have a good understanding of the basic proportions in order to correctly place the features and give your drawing a sense of realism. We'll start with front view. Always beginning with the largest shapes first, we start with the shape of the head. The head fits into a rectangle that is 2 units wide and 3 units tall. The head is egg-shaped with the widest part of the egg at the top of the head and the narrow part down by the jaw and chin. If you divide the egg shape in half between the top of the head and the chin, the halfway mark will give you placement for your eye line. This eye line tells you where the lower lid should go. The corners of the eye may be a little above the eye line depending on the slant of the eyes. Once the eye line is established, divide the space between the eye line and the bottom of the chin into thirds. About 1/3 down from the eye will give you the bottom of the nose. Another third down from the chin will give you the bottom of the lower lip. If you don't want to guesstimate your thirds, a good way to divide space evenly into thirds is to use this method. Draw an X from corner to corner in a rectangle. Then draw a center line through the intersection of the X. Then draw a line from where the center line meets the edge of the rectangle to each of the opposite corners. Where these lines cross the X, that will give you 2 lines that divide the rectangle into even thirds. You can do this either in the horizontal or the vertical direction. Another way to place the nose and bottom of the lower lip is to measure from the eyebrow line. From the eyebrow line, which is slightly above the eye line, to the chin, divided in half, will give you the placement of the nose. If you divide the space between the bottom of the nose and the chin in half, that will give you the placement of the lower lip. It is good to be familiar with as many measuring relationships as you can, since all people are slightly different. Try each measuring relationship out and see which one gives you a head that looks right to you. To get the correct width of the eyes, there's generally 1 eye's width between the eyes. I've found this to be very accurate. I've also heard that the head is supposed to be about 5 eyes wide, but as you can see with our model, 5 eyes width is well outside of her skull. I feel that it's better to look at the relationship between the width of the eyes and the mouth to get an accurate reading for where the eyes should be placed and how wide. The center of the eyes should be just a little wider than the width of the mouth. You can see if we change models underneath our proportions, the basic proportions are fairly accurate even between genders and ethnicity. It is the relationship of all the distances between the features that make a head look realistic. You'll develop a better sense of these relationships with practice and the more you draw from real life. So memorize all of these basic proportions and then observe how each individual differs from the basic proportions. For instance, our male model has a very low brow line compared to the other models. This woman has a very low bottom of the nose and mouth. The jaw line on this male model is much wider. Male models in general will have a more pronounced jaw line. Let's put this knowledge into practice and draw a head. For now, I would suggest you get a ruler, measure out a 2 by 3 rectangle, and lightly draw it in. Inside of the rectangle, lightly draw an egg shape. Once you become familiar with this egg shape, you can skip drawing the rectangle, but for now, since you are learning, you want to start practicing drawing the egg shape of the head with correct 2-3 proportion. During warm-up practice, you might even trace over the egg shape in your rectangle so you can begin to draw it accurately without any guidelines. Divide the egg in half vertically and draw a light line in the middle for your eye line. Let's use the third method and divide the space between the eye line and the chin into thirds. Make little marks to indicate the bottom of the nose and the bottom of the lower lip. Take your time and try to correctly place your marks. Next, draw 2 lines for a neck. We will make this figure male, so the neck will be a little wider than it would with a female neck. Put in an indication for where your eyebrow line will be. With the eyebrow line established, we can then put in some ears. The ears start at the eyebrow line and end at the bottom of the nose. With our proportion marks in place, we are ready to indicate some of the features. Instead of drawing in all of the features with lines, we're just going to indicate where the features are with tone. At this point in our drawing, we're only concerned with placing our features correctly in proportion, so we're not going to draw anything in at this point. To put in some tone, we're going to think of the head as an egg shape on top of a stick. With a single light source coming from the upper right, the shading will look a little something like this. We want the head to look solid and three-dimensional with the features placed on top of this solid form. When you're shading, use the side of the pencil to put in the tone. Make sure your pencil is sharpened with a long taper so that you can do this properly. First, shade the neck, thinking of it as a cylinder. Then add some tone for where the eye sockets will be, thinking about the skull instead of the shape of the eye and the lids. Loosely indicate eyebrows and put a shadow under the nose. Add some tone on the left side of the face and push the ears back by filling them in with tone. Put some more tone down the jawline. Place tone for the top and bottom lips, keeping some light in between to show the top plane of the lower lip. Add a little tone between the lower lip and chin to show the chin coming forward. Once you get these areas down, you can refine all of your shapes to make the head as solid as you want. Don't worry about any details, just focus on placement of the shapes and getting the head to look solid. That about wraps it up for this drawing. Thanks for watching.